has finally happened. The one thing no one ever saw coming has happened. In all of his career, spanning a staggering 18 years of professional play and 15 playoff appearances, LeBron James Sr. has never failed to take his team past the first round of playoffs until now. Well, this streak was shattered on the 3rd of June when the 2-seed Phoenix Suns eliminated the 7-seed Los Angeles Lakers in 6 games in their own city. The Lakers were crushed a nasty 113-100 by the Suns, eliminating them from the playoffs and leaving everyone wondering what had just happened. Now, whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying that LeBron James is one of a kind and easily one of the greatest athletes to ever play the game. But his recent form coupled with his injuries have begun to reveal just how human this king can be. And as age slows down the once unstoppable force of nature, we are all left with one question in our minds. Could it be time for LeBron James to retire? Before we get into the video, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21 included, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. I can see you lighting your torches, getting ready to burn me alive, but wait just a moment. I'm not trying to belittle LeBron's greatness, nor am I saying that his current form is particularly terrible. This couldn't be further from the truth. LeBron James is still a dominant force on the court and still better than most, if not all, of his peers. His record so far playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat, and the LA Lakers has been on a consistent elite level. He's averaged an impressive 27 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 7.4 assists in 1,310 regular season games. His career awards only attest further to his greatness, having won the Rookie of the Year award, 2 Olympic gold medals, 4 Finals MVP awards, and 4 NBA championships. LeBron James is the only NBA player to have won championships with those 3 different franchises and is Finals MVP. He also holds the NBA record for most points in a playoff, is 3rd all-time in points scored, and the 8th in career assists. At the age of 36, and as far as the game goes in 2021, LeBron is one of the most decorated active veterans of the sport and still a formidable opponent to anyone who would dare to confront him on the court. However, everybody grows old and good things have to come to an end. We all know that age is not an athlete's strongest ally, no matter how good they are. Sure, they might gain the experience that comes with longevity, but with time, they also slow down, and unfortunately, this has been the case with LeBron James. LeBron is old. That is an undeniable fact. It's easy to forget this when we see him rack up mileage across the court, into the paint, to and fro, but the facts have been staring us in the face, and it has been more evident in his current form. No one has ever been in doubt about LeBron James' capacity for play. This man has been playing for half of his life and is still the most dominant force in the game, delivering consistently time and again through his lengthy, stellar career. Before now, the normal requirement for defeating LeBron was a showcase of superhuman performances and an ensemble of all-time great NBA players before anyone could even attempt to topple him in a playoff series. Anything short of that was an insult to the king, and he would reinforce his dominance by leisurely treading on them like grass. But even kings are mortals, and King LeBron James, after 2 decades of irreverent dominance, 18 impeccable seasons, and over 1,000 games, has finally begun to show signs of weakness in his intimidating, godlike frame. One more thing before we continue. I must acknowledge that while LeBron's performance might have declined gradually, it still has not reduced to the point that anyone is truly on par with him on the court. However, I know, you know, and we all know that things are not the same as before. The game with the Suns was a culmination of everything that is currently wrong with the king. The defeat with the Phoenix Suns was not supposed to happen, and that is another fact you probably agree with. For one, this was an elimination game, and LeBron has proven to us several times that he becomes superhuman when under that level of pressure. He did it with Boston in 2012 when he dropped 45 points, and again in 2018 against Boston when he dropped 46 points. When the king has his back to the wall, he becomes 1,000 times more dangerous. This has been the narrative. However, the game with the Phoenix Suns shattered that narrative and exploited James' steady descent. It was so bad that in Game 5, LeBron played more than anyone on the team, totaling nearly 33 minutes, and yet got 0 free throw attempts. This comes on the heels of his promise to carry his team throughout the tournament, and the fact that through the game he was desperate for a win. If we were watching prime LeBron, he would have single-handedly changed the story and turned the tables on the underdogs. But that was not the case. Even stranger is that there were several moments when James launched into his signature bully ball move and was intercepted. We have seen in the past how hard it is for opponents to defend against the king anytime he advances into the paint to drop his shot, but for the Suns, their defense made him practically powerless. They rendered the bully ball move useless, forcing the king to use other methods of play. One more thing, the king has also not been able to lock any shot in any of his last 8 playoff games. I know that LeBron James has been struggling with an injury for months now. and that we can conveniently blame all of the dips in performance on the ankle injury, but if you're familiar with King James' career, then you know how strange that statement sounds. King James? Injury? How? Before his time at the LA Lakers, LeBron James had never gotten any serious injury in 18 years, let alone an injury that would plague his performance for months on end, reducing his effectiveness and resulting in an embarrassing loss to a team like the Phoenix Suns. If this is not a sign of a decline, then I don't know what is. The truth is this: anything alive that shoots to the sky will eventually come crashing back to Earth. For LeBron James, his career has been in a superhuman stratosphere all his life, and he had shown no sign of slowing down. That is, until now. Consider the fact that he said himself that he didn't even think that he was going to make a full recovery from his ankle injury and wasn't sure if he would ever be a 100. This is the beauty of elite athletes. They are disciplined enough to know when they have reached the decline. James is aware enough to know that the cards are beginning to crumble. He can feel it himself, and there's only one thing to bother about now: the LeBron legacy. Recently, a former teammate of LeBron at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Channing Frye, mentioned publicly that if LeBron was insisting in keeping his legacy intact, that he should consider retiring as soon as possible. He went further to say that any serious chance of acquiring more championships with the Lakers was unlikely, and he pointed to the fact that Anthony Davis, who is riddled with injury, would not be there to help him with his ambitions for yet another championship ring. Channing Frye is not hating, he's speaking facts. There's a Lakers situation on hand that is a lot worse than most people would care to admit. Right off the table, I'll say that the fact that Anthony Davis is injured is plain terrible for the team. He, along with James, were the only consistent performers on the team this year, and their absence will be detrimental. A year ago, things were a lot better. The Lakers team that won the championship was different, a healthy mix of veterans, former champs, and game-hungry rookies. However, fast forward to now and we have an unfamiliar supporting cast that have little chemistry and cannot function without the king. When an ankle injury sidelined LeBron James for 20 games, the team nested themselves at a relatively embarrassing 5th position in the Western Conference, which did nothing to give them home court advantage in the playoffs. What we're seeing is the clear, undeniable power dynamics that LeBron wields anytime he is a part of any team, and it becomes more clear when he leaves the team. In this case, the Lakers are heavily reliant on the king to perform, and unsurprisingly, they don't match up without him. The team he won the championship with last year is not the same team this year, and the inconsistent performances of newcomers like Schroeder, Marc Gasol, and Montrezl Harrell just drive that fact in mercilessly. This is not the team that LeBron James will win championships with, and the earlier we all acknowledge that, the better for us. Michael Jordan was 32 when he retired for the first time. He was 38 when he retired the second time, and was 40 by the time he finally called it quits. While I've avoided any comparison between Jordan and James since the beginning of this video, it's necessary to note that most players love the game so much that they don't want to leave the game even when it becomes clear that they're getting too old for it. This might have been the case for Jordan, and this seems to be the prevailing sentiment for James. However, if LeBron decides to retire here and now, he will still be considered a GOAT, even if he doesn't have more championship rings than MJ. We're not going to engage in any argument about who's the greatest between the two exceptional players, but understand that LeBron has left his mark on the NBA and carried the franchise on his shoulders for 2 long decades. There's nothing else to prove, and it seems that even he knows it. LeBron has been making remarks for some time now about retiring. In an interview when he was confronted with the idea of being traded to Orlando, he responded that he would rather retire than let that happen to him. In another interview, he spoke about how his wife would be unhappy with him if he kept on playing into his 40s, and that he could feel retirement closing in. No one that wants to continue with the game throws around the word retirement. For LeBron, he knows that the ovation is loud and that it might be time to bow out, and he is taking careful consideration. There is a rumor going around that LeBron James is not going to retire anytime soon because his 16-year-old son, Bronny, will be getting into the NBA soon, and that he wants to play alongside him before he retires, concluding his reign in what would be a fairy tale ending. Short of sounding ridiculous, let me be the first to say that LeBron most likely has as much realism as he has faith in his son. We all know how cruel drafting season is, and there's nothing indicating that Bronny is a definite pick when the time comes. Even if it happens and he is chosen, we're talking about some 2 or 3 years from now, by which time LeBron would have either retired or would be in his last laps. Comment below to let us know your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another one of our videos. We'll see you next time, latest Hoops fans. Until then, keep shooting your shot.